So,
move through these.
tell us, what happened, Anthony?
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is
What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Once again, I'm Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. Our chat GPT read today is going to give a big special thanks to Crack Revenue, our sponsor of the show. I believe this is the last episode they're sponsoring. Crack Revenue, thank you guys. Hope to have you back in the future. You've been a fantastic sponsor. We love you. And if you don't know about Crack Revenue, this chat GPT read will tell you all about them in the form of a heartfelt poem. In the realm of adult CPA, a star shines bright. Crack Revenue, the titan with industry might. For 14 years and more, they've led the way in categories galore where affiliates play. From cams to dating, health to OnlyFans gleam. Their offers dance like stars in a midnight dream. But none can compare to the jewel in their crown. Jerkmate reigns supreme, never let you down. With payouts so sweet, they're the cream of the crop. In a vast adult landscape, they rise to the top. So heed this call, dear affiliate friend. Join Crack Revenue's journey from start to end. And here's a bonus, a gift for you to seize. Sign up now and feel the breeze. A 15% bonus on your first commission, an exclusive link, your ticket to fruition. So take this verse, let it be your guide to Crack Revenue's realm where fortunes reside. In the world of adult, they're the network divine. Join the family now and watch your earnings shine. We also have Mr. PayPal Adam Young, as well as the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, and our special guest today. You may have seen him on the pod way back when I was doing episodes in 2020, I believe, during COVID. Mr. Anthony Paluzzi, the founder of PALO, a full-service performance marketing agency that helps clients acquire more customers, publishers earn more revenue, and brands grow their customer base. What's up, Anthony? How we doing?
Hey, dude, you absolutely crushed that intro, and that was a beautiful poem.
Yeah,
Give you a round of applause there.
Last week I did a rap and really embarrassed myself. I toned it down.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I think you need a new career, man.
By the way, is it Paluzzi or Paluzzi? I just want to make sure I got that right.
I think technically it's Paluzzi, but
we'll go
I'm not that cultured, so let's just call it Paluzzi.
You're not a technical man. Well, it's good to have you back, man. Your episode on the show last time was one of my favorites. We had a good time. I want to dive right into something very exciting. The Caller Meetup. It's back.
Yes.
It's back, baby. It's back in Vegas for LeadsCon 2024 on April 9th at the Paris Hotel and Casino at the Beer Park. If you're not familiar with the Beer Park, it's a very cool spot within the casino itself. I know Ringba is a big sponsor, so I want Adam and Harrison to talk about it as well. But let's start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about why you throw networking events like this? Why did it disappear for a little bit? Why are you bringing it back? And kind of like, what are you looking to gain from it yourself as like the main company putting on the event?
Well, just to correct that a little bit.
Yeah, correct it, dude. Yeah.
I would say that Ringba and PALO are the main companies putting it on. I can't take all the credit at all.
I thought that was assumed, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, cool. But the Caller Meetup started when I would go to all these conferences and there was nobody focusing on pay-per-call. Like it was just, you'd meet some people on the conference room floors and you'd kind of just run into people here and there. And I thought, well, it's kind of hard to network if I'm, going through the meat market floor or the exhibit hall at Affiliate Summit. And I thought there kind of needs to be a spot dedicated to pay-per-call early on when nobody was really focusing on it. And as well, I just kind of wanted to do something badass. And so I said, well, fuck it. Why don't we just throw a networking event, kind of like happy hour style? And we get everybody into the same room. so that they know if I'm going there, I'm going to network and learn and grow around pay per call. And that was the focus. It was really scary at first because it's kind of hard throwing really good events. Adam and Harrison, you guys kick ass on them, so I've learned a lot from you guys. But um, it kind of just spawned from there, and it was like, oh, people actually want to come to this thing, and so we said, all right, we're going to do this at every affiliate summit. And when COVID hit, I realized the attendance for these conferences just dramatically plummeted. Obviously, when you couldn't throw them, and when you could, there were so many restrictions. So I thought it wasn't necessarily worth it to throw a big event for a limited audience. And then after that, time kind of got in the way, priorities got in the way, and I felt as if also I was kind of doing a disservice to the sponsors by not dedicating enough time, who are trying to get value back from sponsoring these events. People like Ringba and other sponsors that wanted to participate. So I kind of said, unless I really have a strong plan to put one of these on again and work with the sponsor, they have to be more organized. And then Adam and I had a conversation in Florida, and he was like, "Hey, let's do this shit again. It's going to be fun. We'll make sure that we throw something that's valuable to the attendees, and we really do it the right way." And so I was like, how am I going to turn that down? And so when I look at the Caller Meetup, not just the event, but anything community driven, I don't just look at it as PALO. I look at it as PALO and Ringba and in our entire industry together. So that's how I looked at the Caller Meetup back then, and how I look at it.
Yeah. So who, like you spoke of the attendees, like in your eyes, who's the right person to attend a caller meetup?
That's a good question. Back then, it was just, did you do pay per call or not? And I and that worked, because at least I could find the people that I do business with, and maybe some new people. I remember right before we had the lockdowns with COVID, I believe it was at Affiliate Summit West. I ran into this dude who was essentially just getting started in pay per call, and he was like, "Oh, I thought I could come to this event and meet some people, and just kind of like shake some hands and shit like that." And about a year, I'd say around a year later, we were just catching up over like a Google Hangout or something, and pay per call became a major piece of his business, simply because he was able to connect with some individuals who he would normally not know where to go and hunt for them. So having that all in really one place allowed him to say, all right, I think I can get some traction here. And I think I can actually start to build my buyer base and really just connect with some people. So when I think about who should be at the Caller Meetup that gets the most value, I really like to think about it as anyone, but especially people trying to break into the industry more by getting face to face with players.
Yeah, and let me make this.
Josh,
Oh, I was just gonna
Josh,
say, let me make this clear. Ringba is helping put on this event. They're putting on the event with you. It is a Ringba associated event. Adam, go ahead.
well, I think it's Anthony and our event. I don't think.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys, let me just
I'm
let me
pretty
just
sure that's how this shit went
It's a
down.
collab.
It's a collab.
you guys, let me just
Yeah.
set the record straight. The Caller Meetup is a collaboration
Stop
between
spreading fake
Ringba,
news, bro.
yeah, Ringba
Yeah,
and
what the hell,
PALO.
man?
Adam, I want you to tell me what you were going to say, but I think I'm going to lead you with this question here. What is kind of your perspective on, the partnership for an event like this?
I mean, a lot's changed. So years ago, when we did the first one, it was in 2018. There were 226 RSVPs. And to Anthony's point, the space was a lot newer, and everyone who was interested in it was already operating in it. There was a lot less activity. I think technology has changed the access to the industry for most folks. Obviously, our growth is a testament to that. I think at the first Caller Meetup, we had 6 team members, including Harrison and myself, and that was the entire company. And today we have
Just shy of 70.
yes, 70.
After we
Nice.
have some new hires starting on the first.
Yeah, we
I
have
think we'll be
5.
like 68 once that's done.
Yeah, we have 5 people starting on April 1st. And so I think that goes to show what has changed with pay-per-call. I think a lot of that is technology driven. I think a lot of it's community and awareness driven. But since our last pod, Josh, my book went from #1 new book in web marketing to #1 new book in web marketing, marketing in general, internet marketing, e-commerce. I made it to the top 50 list for entrepreneurship next to Robert Kiyosaki and Ben Horowitz from Andreessen Horowitz. The Hard Thing About Hard Things. It was crazy. And then the following day, it was the #1 bestseller in web marketing. And this morning, it was the #1 new Kindle book in internet marketing. And so I think that says a lot for how much people are interested in our space, because we've done minimal marketing for this thing, some social media posts, a couple emails, and we're going to be through the first 10,000 copies that are being run before they're even delivered to fulfillment here very
Nice.
shortly. And so that just goes to show how much the industry has changed, how big the opportunity is. We're already at I think 400 RSVPs for this Caller Meetup. We have a much bigger capacity. It's going to be an amazing event. And Taboola is one of our sponsors. They're a massive native advertising network, and they're super excited about pay-per-call. Ringba is doing a whole bunch of stuff with them right now to just further access to pay-per-callers to native traffic. Dash Fee is also a sponsor. They do cashback and provide lines of credit for media buyers, big media buyers. And so now we have really giant media buyers in the space. Just like last week, we talked about our friend and client who's getting the $100 million
It's right there. I see
award.
the goat.
Yeah, it's like right over there. I was just texting with Anthony Sarandria, who sold his business since the first Caller Meetup for $50 million in cash. I mean, like, so much crazy shit has happened in pay-per-call over the last 6 years since the first event that I'm really excited to be doing this with Anthony again. I think there's so much opportunity in the space that if you're in marketing today and you're not looking at pay-per-call, you're making a huge mistake. I think the businesses are better, they last longer, they're higher brow, you build enterprise value, you can sell them one day. It's really an amazing space. And still, someone in their parents' basement could get started and become a millionaire. These things are totally possible, and it happens all the time.
Anthony, you've been in the space since 2010. Adam talked about things that have changed, like technology and the interest level of the public. I'm curious, in your opinion, has anything else changed? But on the flip side of that, what do you think has not changed? What stayed the same since you started about 14 years ago?
I definitely have this gray spot in my beard now. That's for sure.
Dude, I didn't have. Look at this, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, you do it right though.
Yeah.
Shit, so much has changed. People just take it serious now. When I started, it was just kind of cute. People looked at it as, oh, that's cool. That's a nice little side project. Or, yeah, maybe we'll get some budget here and there. But what I've seen change the most is how there are true businesses built around pay-per-call. Like when I started, it was an affiliate who would run pay-per-call, and I'd meet up with some other affiliates, and we would just talk about how we generate traffic. Now there are true businesses really built out with deep teams, lots of technology, and really just overall missions to grow in pay-per-call. So the biggest thing there I've seen is that people take it more serious, and when they take something more serious, they're going to put more behind it. And so with that, that's the biggest thing for me, which I love. Now, when it comes to the technology, the ad platforms alone have essentially adapted to calls. Facebook has a call button, which is still so simple when you think about it, but it's like Facebook. They're enabling for calls. Google has expanded their call options when it comes to call extensions, call only ads, ways to track. The ability to track deeper with something like a Ringba, for example, and feed back into your media buying cost per click platform or whatever that is now deeper. So technology has adapted for really the paper call revolution. A little callback right there. And so it's really just cool to watch it progress. And I think the biggest thing that's changed is it's cool to just see these revenue numbers. Like, you guys are handing out $100 million awards. That's fucking bananas. Like, when I started in 2010, it was like, I just want to make 10 grand a month. Like, that's so awesome to me. And like, I can make 10 grand a month. I can just have a sick apartment and enjoy my life and whatever, get a pretty nice car. Yet now we're here 14 years later, and there's people doing 9 figures on one single campaign. So it's just kind of crazy to watch how it's progressed. And so I'd say those are the big changes that I've seen: more people, more attention, more technology, and people taking it more serious.
Yeah, the pay per call revolution is real. And speaking of the industry and the unknown attached to it, like, do you have any thoughts on where this sector of the internet marketing world is kind of headed? Like, what do you think we'll be talking about on the affiliate marketing show 10 years from now when we're doing episode 3024? Like, where do you see the industry at that time?
It's a couple
I think
years
you'll have
away,
crack
Josh.
revenue back.
Yeah, I tried to
You'll
do
have
the
crack
math in
revenue
my
back.
head. I couldn't figure it out. It was a lot.
Yeah, you'll get crack revenue back as a sponsor. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
100%.
But but
I was
I mean,
feeling lonely, so I needed my jerkmate bobblehead.
Oh, there it is.
Gonna
That's
sit right
product
here for the rest of
placement.
the pod.
Oh, that's
Josh, we're
great.
sure this is the last.
Jerkmate. Crack Revenue, you will always forever be the first official sponsor of the affiliate marketing show, and nobody can take that away from you. Anthony, we got to get the train back on the tracks here. Where's the industry going? Where do you see it kind of developing, and what might be a part of it that's currently not?
See that. I mean, I think technology is always going to just continue to advance and feed into the, like, pay-per call in general. But I honestly see, so when I look at pay-per-call, or I look at inbound calls in specific, I see that you have a supreme amount of intent from a consumer, which is a good thing. And all of these brands and all of these companies who are trying to acquire more customers, they want that level of intent. Something like Medicare, you're getting a very highly engaged individual. And so that comes naturally with calls, and you're getting higher levels of intent. And so not only do I believe that we'll see, let's say, less higher funnel leads and leads in general maybe begin to maybe decline and more budget shift to calls, but I also see that more brands and more, let's just call them large companies, are going to want to come in and get their piece of the pie. They're going to start to come in and start to throw some money around to say they have a good infrastructure on how to not only generate an inbound call, but build a business around generating calls, which is the type of customer that we want. And so I think we're going to see more, let's say, consolidation of some companies, where there's going to probably be a lot of companies that get scooped up that are doing things the right way. And we're probably going to start to see some even bigger brands start to shift more of their budgets towards calls rather than just towards leads. So I think we're going to start to see overall more of a financial focus in calls.
Anthony, I'm sure you'd agree. I think in addition to the regulatory changes, it just makes sense for companies to buy calls instead of leads.
Yeah.
Because a lead is just someone that's interested in something. You still got to get them to pick up the phone. A call is an engaged customer that took initiative or, because they're looking for something. So for companies that are out there buying leads that have agents sitting on the phone dialing on those leads, why dial for dollars when you could be picking up the phone for more dollars?
Yeah. If you can
I
solve
tried to
a
think of
huge
witty
problem.
something to say, and I had nothing. I failed. But
You still have the jerkmate product placement, so you're good, man.
Dude, isn't that
I've
the
made
worst?
it.
When you're
I
on
hope my
camera?
mom watches this episode.
I think to your
Yeah.
point, Harrison, the social media apps have really changed people's attention span, and younger generations coming up have much shorter attention spans. And so if you think about a lead, the person is interested at the moment they click submit and put their information into the form, but their attention dies also the moment they click submit and put their information into the form. And with all the TCPA regulation changes, the new FCC guidelines, the telecoms and the mobile providers putting spam likely on everything, like it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder to reach consumers in an ethical way. But just changing the marketing to get a consumer to call the business is essentially the holy grail outcome for the business. And so I think it's amazing that businesses are waking up to this, especially the ones that sell over the phone, because yeah, sure, a data lead is cheaper, but how much labor are you really putting into getting someone on the phone? And then once they're on the phone, they're like, who? Anthony Paluzzi fucking who? I didn't fill out that form. Like, who are you? And then you got to start all over from scratch and build the relationship that you already had on the website.
And pre-lead gen loophole, it's like, it's whoever picks up the phone, whoever dials fastest. It's like dog eat dog. And
for sure.
With calls, you as the marketer, you're going to make more money than from a lead. And you as the buyer, the advertiser, you're buying something where the customer's ready to go, card in hand or whatever,
Yeah, they're order takers instead of salespeople. Outbound dialing, salespeople who hate their jobs. Inbound calls, order takers who love interacting with consumers and providing a great experience. One quits after a short period of time. One loves their job and enjoys it. I mean, it's literally a win for the consumer, a win for the call center, a win for the business taking the call. Like everybody wins in that scenario. So I think, as you guys said, the revolution is real. We're seeing a fundamental shift now. The data tells us this. I think that the future of consumer interactions when it comes to the phone is them calling us, not us calling them.
Yeah. And just to add to that, I think there's going to be more technology that enables, like SMS, in my opinion, it works, but I think it could work much better. And so I think there's going to be also ways to keep people warm and comfortable, let's say, until they're ready to talk. And so it's going to be crazy to just see how AI develops. I think, it has its place right now. There's a lot of just buzzwordiness of it, where it's just, oh yeah, I do AI, but
dude, did you hear my poem?
That's the only really true value of seeing in AI.
Hey Anthony, have you heard of Candy.ai?
Is this the next sponsor?
Oh, he's I know this is really
this is another product of another offer of crack revenues.
Been good to us.
Yeah,
we're showing some love on this final spot.
They've really been good to us.
You can create.
They never got me. No, hold on.
They never gave us Candy.ai.
They never got the Candy.ai credits for Harrison. Okay.
Oh man.
Like, how are we supposed to do a review of that? I don't even want to do the review, but they didn't give us the credits.
No dick bills were sent.
Yeah, they didn't send any of the other products that they sell. We got no introductions to their customers.
But you know what they did send? This awesome swag, baby.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, but they did not pay enough for me to wear the swag. So I don't... Look, I love that they pay their affiliates on time, that they've been around forever, that they have the highest converting offers.
They are innovating in the chat space.
There we go.
Candy.ai.
Their user interface and tracking platform is really nice. I checked it out. Like, all these things are great, right? Like, their reviews, spectacular. Even the 1-star reviews are fucking great. But I hate them.
Yeah. Well, we will let Adam work that out with crack revenue directly. Adam and Harrison and Anthony. Do you guys think Outbound is going to be a way of the past? Like, is it going to die? Or do you think Outbound will find a way to kind of
there's
stick
always
around?
going to be someone smashing an outbound dialer, I think. But I feel that for direct response, I can say that even today, like, I don't get as many spam calls as I did 6 months ago or like 18 months ago. My phone was a fucking dumpster fire. Literally, I hated it. Like, if you're not in my phone book, I don't answer the phone. Guess what? Lately, I will answer a call that's not in my phone book. And only like 10% of the time is it not something I needed or like not like an automated call for something relevant to my life. Things have gotten better, I think. So Stir and Shaken has definitely cleaned some stuff up. But like in terms of like the direct response world, I think that, especially because of the FCC changes, things like, even transfers. That's, I don't think that's a growing business today. I think that inbound calls directly to people buying the calls, like first party purchases of leads or calls, is kind of what's happening and growing.
Well, I would agree with you, except for the new model, which I think is going to proliferate related to transfers. And so getting a data lead, calling that data lead, and then transferring the consumer to a buyer, for instance, Harrison, I think that model is going to be really, really hurt by the lead gen loophole changes. But the model that most people are not doing, which is one I know you and I would do, even though we haven't talked about it, is generating an inbound call to a call center and then asking the consumer if it's okay, who they want to talk to. Because in that scenario, you have not dialed out to the consumer. There's no TCPA liability. Also, I'm not a lawyer. Make sure to check with your lawyers, okay? But if the inbound call goes to the call center, you qualify it and then transfer it, that is still an inbound call. I also think that experience is amazing for the consumer, but it also allows the publishers and the affiliates to run all sorts of different ads.
I love that.
And angles,
Mhm.
and then they can like do the qualification on the phone. And that's something that I think
That's a great. I think an analogy I've made with transfers. I'm going to offend someone, but like when you're just buying the cheapest data you can, dialing it, and then sending out calls, you're kind of like turning shit into gold.
Yeah.
And with what Adam just said, I would say you're turning gold into like platinum
Mhm.
Yeah.
because you have a pretty good quality call, and now you're taking it to a next level. You're qualifying someone that's qualified. It's like
Well, also,
amazing.
as the
Best of the best.
algorithms change, Harrison, and they remove targeting options from these media buying platforms, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to get as tightly qualified of a consumer. And so if you generate a call from an ad that isn't super tightly targeted into a call center, then you can qualify them and provide them with a product or service and fit them into different molds of the buyers you have available. And if they don't qualify for one buyer, maybe you have another product or service that's similar that you can offer.
You're gonna
them
have
on the
something
phone.
for some. Yeah, you're gonna have different.
Exactly.
If you're talking
Yeah.
debt, you might have someone that wants to take under 10K or whatever, and boom,
Yes.
you're not gonna
Mhm.
leave money on the table when if you sent it to one buyer and you don't qualify, they just dump it.
And so I think Josh, Anthony, Harrison, I think this is likely going to be a major shift when it comes to transfers. And if I were in the business, I would be working on media buying into that. And I spoke with a really large buyer of calls yesterday, and they do not take transfers. And I said to him, "Well, you'd take this transfer." And he thought about it for a second and was like, "Yeah, I mean, if I trusted the party doing the generation, I actually would take that transfer because it's an inbound to a transfer instead
An
of
inbound
an
call
outbound."
that's
Yeah.
further qualified. It's like a
Yeah.
vetted.
It might be the highest quality call you could possibly get, actually. If
I
it's
agree
done
with that.
correctly.
Super
Well,
inbound.
Speaking of
A super
quality,
inbound.
Yeah.
speaking of
That's
super
my word. Don't use that
inbounds,
word.
I mean, I'm
yeah.
going to have it trademarked before the show's over, Anthony. So you're kind
All
of
right. I'll beat you to it. Don't worry about it.
Speaking of quality, PALO is one hell of a quality company. And I know some of the factors that have kind of helped you make it that are your focus on business structure hiring and just focus in general. We were talking before the episode and you mentioned how important those were to you to how you got to where you are today. I'm curious, like, out of those three, business structure, hiring, and focus, do you feel like any one of them is more important than the other? And kind of how did you land on those three in terms of like the main principles that you look to when it comes to thinking back on how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, I love that. I love that question. I don't think any one of those are more important than the next. I think they're all you can't have one without the other two. And so um when I really looked at the beginnings of PALO in a way, I looked at really what was the DNA of how we got there. And riding as a solopreneur essentially for a while, I looked at the way we got there was just due to a lot of the things that I thought were valuable. But at some point, if you want to grow a tremendous organization that provides a lot of value, you need to add more people. And you have to be able to learn from what you think is valuable and try and try and shift that to new hires. And so what I'm getting at here is like, when I really thought about how would I want a company to run, I've always looked at it as I want a company to run as autonomous as possible because we have a team full of leaders. Not necessarily that I don't want to be able to, I don't want to do anything at the company, but I always kind of say to myself, I want to give myself the hit by the bus test. Can this company run if I get hit by a bus? And so I've always kind of backed that into a lot of the decisions I make. And so hiring is very important. Focus is very important, but you have to have a structure to bring these in. And so I won't go like, I'll try not to ramble on with this, but I think I mentioned this maybe to Adam in Florida, but I've taken more of an approach around holacracy. Holacracy is more of a we can call it like an approach to business structure or an operating system in a way where you're allowing people to come into your organization and get to the point where they understand the main goal, there's trust built, and then you're getting out of their way. And so I used to look at different organizations of like, well, where would I want to be if I was in an organization where maybe I'm not the founder or the CEO or whatever, what kind of organization would I want to be in? And I've always looked at it as, well, I've never really wanted to be at a top down type of organization where it's kind of like the strategy and the decisions and the authority all live with one person. I believe that can be distributed amongst everyone if you truly have great people on your team. And so that's when I kind of discovered holacracy in a way. And I actually didn't even know what it was until I'd say about 2 years ago that it was called holacracy. But I've always looked at it as your business should have a purpose, kind of like how Simon Sinek says your business should have a why, and your business should have a purpose, and you should have goals, obviously, and a mission to reach those goals. But you should also have the right people that buy into that vision and own that as if it's their own company and get out of their way. And so that's essentially what holacracy is. You're essentially saying, okay, everyone has a purpose and everyone agrees to, let's say, the goal set at the company. But you also need to make sure that you're giving people the authority to make decisions within their role that help feed into that greater purpose and get out of their way. And also don't step into their domain, which it's called, of authority. And so I've always looked at it as if I'm going to hire somebody, I'm going to first make sure that I think they have the right DNA of being able to know that they're going to take charge somewhere and have authority that not even I can step in on and say, no, I want it run this way. Obviously with some guidelines set in place too. And so I look at that first and I say, do I think this person is really just going to be or wants to be a cog in the wheel? Or do I really think that they want to go in and impact change at PALO? And if they really want to make a change at PALO, that means they're a leader and they want to actually be able to be a leader within an organization. They don't have to be a CEO or a founder or an entrepreneur. They can still be a leader inside of an organization. And so in January in Florida, every year, we essentially have a team meeting where we say, what are our goals for the year? And essentially, what's kind of like our amendments or our Bill of Rights of like, what are we trying to accomplish? I mean, kind of like how the country is running away, but not exactly, because there's a whole nother discussion around politics. But like, what are some of the things that we see as values? And what are some of the domains in which everybody is placed into? So like, for example, if we are trying to grow our legal program, well, we have a legal program manager that to the point where they've gotten skilled enough and put enough time in that they own that division. That's their business. And so as long as we're on track to meet those goals that we're moving towards, I can't just step in and make changes. They're the owner there. And we have to come together as a team if we want to change the strategy and change the direction we're taking that. And so I've always taken like bits and pieces from different entrepreneurial books about like EOS, for example. Like me personally, I don't really like EOS as just a company-wide structure. I think it has really great purpose for like structuring meetings and creating goals and guidelines around that. And so, where was I going with this? But I've taken bits and pieces from everywhere, and I've really looked at it as if I'm going to truly structure an organization that I would want to work at, then I need to be able to give the same to the people within my organization and let them be leaders within their role. And so there's so much more to holacracy that we could get into, but we could go for hours on that. I'd be happy to also share a link that got me into it. It was a cool TED talk.
Yeah,
And
shoot us the link. I
uh,
could put it in the description of the video.
yeah, totally.
You mentioned like figuring out if someone has the right DNA, right? To like
Hmm.
take on responsibility and to get the job done. I was curious, like, is there a specific question or two that you always kind of ask when you're, I don't know if you conduct interviews yourself anymore, but when you
I
were
do.
or when you, yeah, when you are, is there a specific question you ask that like really kind of gives you that answer?
Yeah. And it's not necessarily the questions I ask, it's the questions they ask. Because I don't look at an interview as just running through a series of questions. I look at it as a conversation. It's kind of like that first date. Do I think that you're going to be somebody in 12 months that I'm excited to have a conversation with based upon this conversation now? Now, there are little cues that I look for in terms of the questions they ask. Like, if somebody's just jumping straight to like a salary on the first call, that's an immediate red flag for me because they're not asking the right questions. Now, it's important, but we'll get to that. Now, the big things I look for are like, are they asking about like what drives you as the owner, the CEO, the entrepreneur? Where are you trying to get your team to? Well, what's important for you when it comes to understanding what's the success of your team? If anyone asks about culture, that's a major plus right there. But then when I start to think about the questions where it's just like, so do I have to clock in at a certain time, or do I have to show up anywhere, or okay, what's the starting salary, or you know anything like that? I don't get a level of intent where it's like you really want to understand the organization and where we're going. So I look for people that are just really excited to dig in and learn because as me as like an entrepreneur, just somebody who likes to learn, when I meet somebody who's doing something that I don't know about or I think I kind of know about it, I'm going to be kind of annoying and I'm going to dig in with as many questions as I can because it's just fucking so fascinating that they've done something and I want to know about how they got there. So I look for the same curiosity within an interview so I can see who they are and what drives them and what piques their interest. And also, are they culturally cool? Do I want to, when we go to a conference, are we going to be able to enjoy ourselves? Um, if like, if if we have a team party or something like that, are we all going to be able to mesh well? Different things like that. So that's how I always approach an interview from how I started to where I'm at today. It's really never changed.
You know,
Adam,
Anthony, I think, yeah, hold on, Josh. Like, I think what you said was really interesting about conversation there. So I am interviewing for a couple positions, and we have a staff recruiter. I don't do most of the interviews at this point, but I had to bring on a media buyer to my direct team for the book. So we're buying media for the book and running a funnel, which is super exciting, by the way, because I haven't done this in a long time, and it used to be like my life's work. So doing media buying again is great. But I had scheduled, I think, 30 or 45 minutes for the interview. And I don't do that many interviews, so I never schedule back-to-backs at interviews. And I think at like an hour and 20 minutes, I
Nice.
realized like I needed to take my girlfriend to dinner or something, and I had to stop hanging out with this guy. And so on the call at the end of the hour and 20 minutes, I was like, listen, dude, I want to work with you. Let me think about the numbers a little bit. I'll get back to you after I go have dinner and I'll shoot you an email. And then, like, can you start Monday? We didn't even talk about money at all. He was just like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, like, hell yes. Like, let's do it. And then I had another interview I did recently for a different position and same kind of thing. I spent longer on the phone with them than I had scheduled because I was enjoying the ideas we were coming up with and like learning what this person knew about what he did that I don't know. And so a key indicator for me, especially for a leadership position, is can I learn from this person? Like, what do
Yeah.
they have to teach me? What are they so much better than me at that I want to trade money for their brain, right? And when I find those people, I just really get excited because I know they're going to add
best.
value. Yeah, they're going to add value to the organization. To your point, they're going to make mistakes, but I can give them a long rope to go run and do whatever they
Mhm.
want to do, and they do fine. I mean, I think Josh is a great example of this. Like, I try to talk to Josh as little as possible, actually.
Well, it reminds me of a story I've told on the pod before. This is years and years ago. Had like a biz dev team member, and he was killing it, doing, there was growth, there was no issue, whatever. And I hadn't talked to him in like 2 weeks because I was like busy with other shit. And he hits me up on Skype, and you know who this is. And he's like, "Hey, bro, like, is everything okay? Are you mad at me?" And I'm like, "What the fuck you talk? Hold on, voice video call immediately." And I get on, I'm like, "Yo, dog, like, you're killing it." Like, no, I've been busy, and you're doing your thing. Like, what, we need to talk every day. I'm down. Like, we could catch up, but like, I'm not the cops. I'm not trying to police your work. I see the results. You're making money. Biz is good. Like, we chill, dude. And he was like, "Oh, bro, at my old job, like, we had a this and that. And I had to send the TPS reports and
Yeah.
that." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, like, your shit's good. You're killing it. Don't worry about it." Like,
I had a similar call with Ryan, our director of support, recently. He's our new senior director of support. He runs the whole support organization at Ringba. And he came from, I think, like 250 or 300 person company. And he used to actually work with Harrison and I over a decade ago. We were a customer at the company he was at. And he came on board and says, like, "Hey, I want to hire some people. I want to reorg stuff. I want to put some processes in place. I'd like a little budget for some education for the team." Like, a whole bunch of things. This is like a laundry list of phenomenal ideas. And he's like, "So what do I need to do here? Do I need to, like, I'll put together a budget proposal and a PowerPoint presentation, and then maybe we can reconnect in a few days and we'll run you through all the details." And he just kept going and going and going. And I was like, "How about we just, yes."
Yeah.
And he was shocked. He was
Yeah.
shocked. And I was like, "Dude, these are all great ideas. I trust you. Like, you're not going to go spend a ton of money without asking on something stupid. Like, I have no trust issues here. So, like, go do your thing. If we make mistakes, we're going to work on them together. And I'm going to support you. And, like, like, you don't need to spend 6 hours writing budgetary reports or PowerPoints because these are just good ideas. Like, let's just run with them, be thoughtful about it, but I'm not going to waste your time." And then 6 months later, he pitched me on something else. And I said, "Listen, go put me a budgetary report together, get me a PowerPoint, like, do these things." And he was like furiously taking notes. And then he stops, looks up. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking with you."
That's the fun part, though. Like, when you can bring someone in to your organization and they have this preset mind, they have this mindset.
they're just
where
ready
it's
to
like,
excel and help the organization excel and grow with whatever their strength
it's
is. It's
awesome.
like beautiful.
yeah. And
By the way,
what
could
you
I see
just-
your shirt, Anthony?
Oh, thank you for asking about my shirt. I bought this shirt on Instagram and it's called Visit
I'm just
Florida.
surprised it doesn't have our address on it.
Hey,
It's a cool shirt though, but I
let me
literally was like,
address that
"Look, he
real
better
quick.
not have engraved our fucking address."
Let me address this very quickly. Listen, I don't think sharing anyone's personal information at the end of the day, like your address, is appropriate. Here, let me just fix my camera real quick. I don't think sharing my anyone's personal information at the end of the day should be ever shared online. So from the deepest depths of my heart, I would like to apologize for sharing your address.
Damn, that
Publicly.
was fucking awesome,
So
dude.
I got to clean that whiteboard.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening and not watching the video, Anthony just panned over to a whiteboard with my social security number on it.
It's not the real one. It's not the real one. If your social security number is 420-136-969, you win. So
Honestly, I would wear a shirt with my social on it. It's true. I have to say, Anthony, rarely do I see Adam like legit pissed off, like steam coming out of his ears, pissed off. And I kind of laugh because I'm like, well, fuck it. And then I'm like, it was actually kind of bad. Like I was
Yeah,
buffering,
it was mad shitty.
like jerkmate style buffering, and then Adam's like furious, and then he's Skyping you, and you just have like the green with the clear circle, like he was around, but he's not anymore. Go fuck yourself. And then like for a second, like you might have like opened your phone for something, it like went to active and then back to not there, and he was like, fucking saw my message, didn't reply, and it was pretty great, honestly.
I mean, when Adam called me too, I was like, I was like a ditz. I was like, hey, buddy, what's going on? And I'm like, how's things? And you're like, listen, motherfucker. Like he was like Liam Neeson on the phone, and I was like, oh fuck that. Yeah, I'll go fix that. But to just go back to what you said, Adam, you said a really, really, and I'll wrap it up right here. But like, you said a really important thing that I look for every time I come off an interview. It's not yes, I want them on the team. It's hell yes, I want them on the team. I want to leave that just stoked to be able to get back on the phone with them. There's no reason you should ever settle for mediocrity with a team member, because I am a dumbass in many different areas of life.
He said it first here on the affiliate marketing show.
Yeah, we're gonna be
everybody.
selling hats, but I'm a dumbass. I just have experience. That's all I have, and I want people who have a much higher level of intellect than me, because it's going to bring this organization to the point where it creates that enterprise value, and that you can't ignore us. We're doing great work. We're great people, and we have great results. And so that's kind of like how I look at it. What you said, for anybody watching this, if you don't leave an interview with a hell yes, not a yes, but a hell yes, that's a no, in my opinion, at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Adam,
what ends up happening, hold on, this is really important. What ends up happening is you invest a bunch of time into trying to change this person and like mold them into a hell yes, but it
just
never
doesn't work like that.
It never happens,
It will
right?
never happen.
It never happens. And so it is just a complete waste of time and resources. And this is something I talk about with our leadership team a lot. And if it's not a hell yes from everybody, I don't even want them on the team. I don't care at this point. Like, if it's not someone who's super cool that wants to build really cool shit and is amazing to be around that we can all learn from, I simply don't want them on our team. And I will literally ask everyone else, like, guys, we have not found the hell yes yet. I need you all to pick up the slack until we get the hell yes. And surprisingly, they're all down because they're all hell yeses. They're like, yeah, all right, I'll do a little bit extra work. I know we're going to find the right person and it's going to make my life easier. I'll do what's necessary. And like, I think that's really the key to winning in business, is finding the people who can take you to the next level and inspiring them to do so.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Adam, I got one more question for you and Harrison. You guys mentioned you just hired 5 people, or in the process of hiring people. Something that I feel like I would have trouble with is knowing, like, how many people do we actually need? And then for each specific person, making sure they have enough stuff to do. Like, I feel like that would be something that I would struggle with. So when you guys are
I would say there's no issue in terms of having work for new people to do. There's a reason why we're rapidly growing the team. Now, maybe in other organizations where it's a different kind of role, or like, for example, you're a smaller team, you're trying to grow a sales team, so you got to like find them meat to go hunting for. Maybe those circumstances exist, but at the same time, if you're doing that, you probably should have a sales process and strategy for your team members that you're bringing on board. You hire an experienced salesperson, but there's still like strategy, and you got to teach them about the product, etc., so they can do a good job and sell your product. But like, some of those new team members are coming in for development roles. You could ask Adam. There's a lot of things that we'd like to build and add within Ringba, and so that team member will spend some time familiarizing himself with the team, the platform, the back end, etc. But there's work for him to do. And then some of those other team members are joining the support team, which we have many customers and they have needs, and they ask for assistance.
So how do you know when you need like more support? Because your current support team's saying,
like, some of the senior
we're
team
past
members in that
capacity.
division are like, we're back to back. We want to,
I mean, specifically on the support team, we're measuring everything now. So
Yeah.
we measure response time, ticket turnaround time by category, number of support requests based on dollar volume. I mean, we're looking very deeply into the numbers, and we're reorganizing everything by the data. I think for us, Josh, we have champagne problems. It's like a caviar crisis, right? Like when
Nice.
you're winning, then you always need more. And the question is, what is your risk tolerance for hiring people and integrating them? And by risk, I mean, do you have the time and resources to get them up to speed? Are they a hell yes? Are they really going to add value to your organization? Or are you going to end up putting a bunch of time and effort into somebody that doesn't work out and then that sets you back? And the way we look at talent at Ringba is these are investments in the organization. And when you find the right people, you're really like, all right, I'm going to bring on an engineer. It's going to take them a while to get productive. It's going to slow everyone else down. But what's the 24-month ROI on that? Same with a salesperson. How long does it take to get them up to speed? What do we need to do to help them build a book of business and like do all these things? And then as you continue to grow, you have to take risks for reorganizing everything you're doing and putting new systems into place. And you make mistakes, but then you have to add resources to do that, right? Like I'm not selling enough books to cover the book team's salaries right now. Like I'm just not. They're really high quality people. They've, our media buyer was selling, involved in like 1,000 books a week or something at a previous role. Maybe it was 1,000 a day. I don't even remember, some stupid amount. And all I knew is like, if I work with this really smart person 6 months from now, I'll be super happy about it. Right now, it's just going to be a loss. And so,
Mhm.
and that's, I just mean financially, right? Like not the person. And so for support, Ryan has really done a nice job thinking about forecasting and what systems we can put in place to improve our ability to turn around things faster. And so we're putting systems in place to speed things up and adding staff well in advance of where we need it. So the 4 out of the 5 people that are starting on Monday are support people. Those people will start working on tier 1. So we have 3 tiers of support. Everyone starts on tier 1. Even our developers start tier 1 support so they can like learn things. And what's going to happen is over time, the proficiency per support person will go up. Ringba continues to grow. We try to reduce support volume on a per customer basis, and we try to forecast how much we're going to need a year later and then invest in those people 6 months before we need them. That is a hard process. It's totally flawed. You'll never get it right, but that's essentially what we're doing. And then since it's support, we'll spend more money on it than we likely should based on the numbers because we want to provide excellent support. And if we continue to grow rapidly, or as we continue to grow rapidly, we like can't predict what we need. On the engineering side, I got a two-year roadmap backlog. I got products I can't build that I know will be highly successful if I build them that our customers want. Like, I couldn't hire enough engineers right now to save my fucking life. So, by the way, if you are an ad tech engineer and have real-time bidding experience and love predicting the outcomes of things before they happen, call me. We got truckloads of money. We would like to work with you.
I have his address if you want to show him in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you.
No, but seriously, we're hiring for like I think like 8 engineering positions right now for senior back-end engineers that are really good in high transaction environments, that like working with big data, like working with high transaction systems at scale and doing real-time analytics and real-time predictions and all sorts of really amazing projects that we're working on. So we're looking for people who are leaders, people who are self-starters, people who love solving problems, and people who love working with other really, really smart people. And that's what we're looking for in the engineering department, Josh. And honestly, I don't think I could, if they were sitting in front of me, I'd hire all of them.
Anthony, I got one more question for you before we let you get out of here. With PALO, I know you guys work with legal as well as some other verticals in the space. So, for any new pay-per-call marketers who are just getting their start and getting their feet wet, what would be like the top vertical or two you would suggest they focus on in terms of like finding success in this industry and
Mhm.
not kind of not biting off more than they can chew right at the beginning?
I love this question. And it kind of goes back to, in my opinion, of what's going to be changing in the industry. So I don't think I could necessarily say which industry to go after, but what I can say is that my approach at PALO has been verticalization. And so 2018, back before 2018, I said, shit, we're doing debt, we're doing home services, rehab, we're doing X, Y, and Z. We're not really excelling at any of these. We need to be more vertically focused. And so to answer your question, I would say that if somebody really wants to get into another vertical, get into something where you can build. And I mean, I look at this as because I say that because if you really want to start to provide more value in the space to your buyers, to your affiliates, to whoever, you really need to be a matter expert in some way. And so if you want to grow in legal, for example, our biggest vertical, and you want to work with lawyers and law firms on that side, you need them to trust you. You need them to realize that this dude knows his shit. He really knows what goes into growing a law firm. He knows the terminology in the back end. And he knows what's going to drive our business and grow from there. And so when I looked at legal, I said, all right, well, if we're going to be specialists in legal, we need to begin to build our business in a way that serves those clients. And so we took a verticalized approach. And I truly see that many affiliates right now are beginning to take that verticalized approach. And I think it's starting to be easier than ever, where let's just say you want to get an insurance license and start to sell to yourself, or be able to hire a bunch of other agents and you own the NPN as an agency, so on and so forth. You're allowing yourself to build more and bring more value. So with legal, I love legal because we can build more. We've built our call center in a way to be the intake arm for a law firm. So like when Harrison was saying, take that inbound call and clean it up and bring the super inbound call, like that's what we do. We ensure that we place something in front of our calls to our clients that bring them more value. And so by taking a verticalized approach, you don't go to an Italian restaurant to get sushi. And let's just say an Italian restaurant has sushi. Well, cool.
You probably
Who
do
the
that,
fuck?
Anthony.
No, I was gonna
I
say
mean,
Harrison's for sure getting the sushi there.
Sure.
I would fuck with
There's a
gas
little-
station sushi. It's not all bad.
There's a little fusion there. But what I'm getting at is like, even if you have the best goddamn sushi there is in an Italian restaurant, there's still a level of trust you have to get people through to say, well, wonderful. Are they going to put Parmesan on my sushi? I don't know where I'm going with that, but like, but you really want to be able to show the market that you've built something and that you're a specialist somewhere and that you have an infrastructure around that. And so when I said people are going to start to come in here and throw money at businesses, it's going to be the businesses that are taking, in my opinion, a verticalized approach because they're already providing that tremendous amount of value. So if I was talking to a new affiliate, I would say find someone who's built vertically because they're going to be able to have your best interest in mind to help you monetize your traffic better. If someone came to me and said, I want to run home services, I'd say, I probably can get you an offer, but I'm not going to provide much value to you. I'm just going to broker the offer. Where's the value in that? I'll refer you to someone who can really do something in home services that's built it out. Same thing with others. So when people come to us for legal, I'm confident that I can help them grow, bring value to our law firm clients. So to just shut up and answer your question, I would say get into something where you can build, get into something where you can add value into the equation and not just get paid a commission. Just find some wiggle room there to build value. Could be legal, could be insurance, it could be whatever, but don't just pick it for the dollars, pick it for the value. So I don't know if that answers your question.
100%.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah. All
Josh,
right.
I have a question for you. Speaking of super inbounds, do you know anybody who would be interested in buying superinbounds.com?
I do actually know somebody. I think he's sitting in your studio.
Is this like a Price is Right thing? $1.
Oh
Less than
no.
the fucking.
Well, for
That's great.
myself, Josh from OfferVault.com, Mr. Paper Call Adam Young, as well as the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, and the founder of PALO, Anthony Paluzzi. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.
Marketing